Welcome to the Expat Career Podcast of Immigrant Spirit GmbH. My name is Pyak. I'm the Managing Director here. And I'm very glad that you joined us here for this live podcast today, because we have two very, very special guests. One is Lea Dirkwinkel. She's the head of HR for Raisin GmbH. And together with her is Gerhard Koestler, the CTO of Raisin GmbH. Welcome, both of you.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Very happy to be here today.
It's a great pleasure, Chris.
Yeah, I'm very glad that both of you joined me here. And I was preparing a little bit before the call, Lea. I saw that you have a background from your university that might be quite useful for the job that you have now, which is to hire the best professionals in the marketplace, because I saw that you wrote your paper at university about luxury items industry in the times of economic crisis. What is the most useful insight you gained for that that helped you in your job, in your recruiting activities?
So this is actually a bit outdated. That was my master thesis. More recently, I did my PhD thesis, which was on fair trade goods. But I guess both of them are focused on branding, which, as you said, indeed helps attracting talent as well. We try to use findings, obviously, from branding, also for employer branding, this helps.
Great. Yeah, let's talk about Raisin GmbH. First of all, for all the listeners, we will have a very short interview, and at the end of the interview, you can actually ask us questions about the concrete positions that Raisin GmbH has to offer via the chat function here in YouTube. Lea, tell us a little bit about Raisin. What is your main mission at Raisin GmbH?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are Raisin, and Raisin is a Berlin-based fintech startup company that was founded about 5 years ago by 3 very experienced banking consultants. And from their daily job, they actually discovered the need for this kind of business, which basically focuses on brokering deposits from customers throughout Europe to banks throughout Europe. At the beginning, the focus was on private savers, but after some time, so quite recently, actually we've introduced a solution for business customers as well. Mm-hmm. So giving also small to medium-sized enterprises the opportunity to use our products. Mm-hmm. Are currently working on another solution which will focus on investment products.
Okay, so you have like 3 main activities now.
Exactly. So the investment product solution is not live yet, but knock on wood, will go live soon. And the vision in the end is to be the leading one-stop shop for savings and investments.
Okay. And what would be the next big step that your company needs to achieve to get to this goal, so that our listeners can understand how they can contribute best to your success?
Mm-hmm. So as I said, so investment products has not been launched yet. This is what we are focusing really heavily on now. And obviously, in order to achieve this, we need to have a great team. We are currently 80 people based here in Berlin. We are in the lucky situation of having received quite significant funding of 60 million from really popular investors like Thrive Capital, Ribbit Capital, Index Ventures. So this obviously gives us the opportunity to grow, but it's not as easy as you imagine finding the right talent. So I think we really need to build up the team in order to successfully continue our growth in terms of business as well.
Before we talk about concrete jobs that you offer to professionals, can you tell us a little bit, is there a certain kind of attitude that you are looking for in all your employees?
Yes, so being a startup, I'd say that actually every person really counts. So I think in corporate environments, it's a bit easier if not every person fulfills their whole potential or does not work as hard. But in a startup where you've got limited resources, also in terms of people, it's really important that everyone really does their job as good as he or she can, and takes responsibility over what they are doing. This is really important. Maybe Gerhard, you want to add something on this?
Yeah. You're really taking responsibility, really being a part of the bigger team is something we're looking for. So kind of being part of the Raisin story.
Mm-hmm. Gerd Koestler is the CTO of Raisin, and we will talk with you in a moment a little bit more about the concrete technical positions, and with the business positions we will talk with you, Lea. Mm-hmm. You brought us two concrete positions that we will talk about in more detail about. But can you, before we start doing that, tell us a little bit, how many open job vacancies do you have at the moment? How many people could you possibly hire?
So as many as we can get. So we currently have about 20 open positions, and actually I heard from some colleagues already that we are planning for new positions as well. So it's really not about having a threshold as an upper limit, but actually minimum amount. So at least 20 positions we are trying to fill short term.
Mm-hmm. And for those of our listeners who are interested in working with you, interested to contributing to your company, a question that I get very often by expats looking for the next career step is they're pretty scared of the German CV format, of the German application process. First of all, your company is working completely in English. Mm-hmm. Is there a certain way that a candidate should apply to you that makes your work easier and at the same time increases the chances of the job candidate to get an interview with you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, so we take all applications digitally, obviously. So no need for sending out applications by post, of course, and then we want to make it as easy as possible for all candidates. So when you go to our career page and click the apply button, you can simply fill in your name, contact details, and then send us your CV. Or send us your LinkedIn profile. So we really want to make it as easy as possible for candidates to get in touch with us.
Okay, great. So it's pretty forward, the process then with you.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we try. I think we should emphasize that we really try to be fast. We believe it's really important if we get application to get through them as quickly as possible and getting back to the applicants very fast. And I think that is really perhaps making us from especially bigger and more corporate organizations.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, the number one complaint that I get, every year I make a big survey of expatriates in Germany. And the number one complaint from nearly all of them is that, first of all, of course, everybody requests them to speak German already on arrival, which is not possible. And the second thing is that they never hear back from any employers. And therefore, they also don't know what they could do better.
Okay, I can already outrule the first one because there are so many people, especially in the tech organization, that don't even speak German. So English is the working language in the company, especially in tech.
Yeah, that's great. This makes Raisin, of course, a great place to work.
Yeah, and maybe to add on that, obviously, like we support people that are relocating. We are supporting them with the relocation process, but also when they are here, we help them. So we have German classes, for example, so that everyone feels welcome and can actually learn the language as well. We do have English classes in order to make communication within the team easier, and yeah, we really try everything to make people feel at home here in Berlin at Raisin.
Mm-hmm. I fear that that many expats tell me about is also how is it, how do you differentiate, or do you differentiate between European Union citizens and candidates from other places in the world where they would need to require a visa?
So I think we are completely open. I'll give you a very good example. We just hired 4 people from Brazil, where we have to go through the full visa process, blue card process, whatever. So we are completely open to that. Obviously, it's easier if people come from the European Union, but this is not really a reason for us to reject or to lower prioritize other applications.
So even if you are from Russia, from India, or even the UK, you could come and apply with your company.
Just today, a new colleague from Russia joined our team.
Oh, great. Yeah, let's talk about the concrete positions. You said you have more than 20. About two of them we would like to talk a little bit in more detail. And you, as the listeners, you will be able to ask your questions about these positions or the other positions that Raisin has at the end of the interview in a few moments. So be prepared to type in your questions in the chat window of YouTube, and I will read them then to Leah and to Gerhard. Leah, shall we talk about the, or better, Gerhard, let's talk about the IT position first. Can you tell us a little bit what is the position and what is your main requirements there?
Perhaps to start with, we have a whole variety of positions we would like to fill, like release managers, test engineers, front-end developers. But I would like to feature one especially. We are always looking for software engineers that are working more in the background. So what is behind this position? We were looking for experienced Java developers who work on the exciting task to develop an online banking system. So it's really about moving money and transferring money in the background, and integrating the systems with many banks throughout Europe. So in the moment we were integrated with almost 40 banks. So to give a little bit more details, it's about developing highly scalable and especially highly reliable business logic. A strong emphasis on testing is obviously part of this. Developing RESTful APIs to exchange data and with, as I already mentioned, almost 40 banks. We're using frameworks for that, for example, Tropisot, to mention one. And a good understanding of the technology stack. This includes Linux, MySQL, Tomcat, Java, of course, is a kind of prerequisite for this position.
Yeah, and as with all positions, there's always a great number of different tasks and skills that you need to fulfill. But usually, is that they have a certain order. Some things are always more important than the other ones.
Yeah.
For this position, what do you think? What would be like the number one quality, the number one ability that a great candidate needs to have?
Yeah. So besides the technical skills that I in the end take for granted, I would say it's also a social thing. It's passion. It's taking ownership for tasks. Really being an active part of the team. This is perhaps even the most important thing I would like to mention.
Yeah, I always like to ask this question. You worked with a great number of professionals in these tasks already. When you rank them from the best to the worst, for this concrete position, the best people, what did they do different than the rest?
In the end, I already said it's taking ownership for topics. In the end, giving everybody else the feeling that if they do it, it's in good hands. And this is something that really differentiates the best colleagues and the best developers from the
rest. Yeah. Are you still there?
Perhaps one thing we would like to mention, because we think this is very important, we put a very strong focus on diversity. So we have an over average ratio of female engineers in the tech organization, and of that. And I would like to mention that we have a very of nationalities and cultural backgrounds as well. So alone in the tech organization, I guess we have more than 15 nationalities in the company overall, definitely more than 20. And this is big fun, I have to say.
Yeah, thank you, Gerhard. One last question I have about this position, and that is, if you imagine for a moment that you hired someone and 1 year has passed, at the end of the first year, how would you know that this person was successful? How would you measure success?
So I would expect from a new colleague after 1 year that he or she really is able to take on complex projects, take ownership for those projects, and act as a kind of technical leads in projects and tasks going on, and being able to work together with our product owners and UX designers in a very good way. That would be something I expect after 1 year.
And why is that so important?
Because in the end, development of a fintech company is very strongly a teamwork. So it's very important to work together and to take the responsibility for a couple of things.
Thank you, Gerhard Koestler, CTO of Raisin GmbH. Lea Dirkwinkel, you are the head of HR, and you brought us a second position in Raisin GmbH.
Thank you. Yes, I brought the position of Regional Director France. This is a really exciting opportunity, I think, because it basically gives the right candidate the opportunity to to really own the French market or the French business. It's a job that is that will be done from Berlin, but obviously involves some travel to France, and as I said, so it basically is about the ownership of Raisins activities in France. So from PR and marketing activities in the local market to actually localizing our product there, and acquiring new banks and onboarding them to our platform. So it's a really diverse job that I think gives a great opportunity for growth, and as I said, involves quite a lot of different tasks. I think it won't get boring in
Yeah, I can imagine. And if you think about a person who should fulfill such a job, same questions, the best people for this position, what would they do different than all the others?
On the one hand, here we are really looking for people that have some prior knowledge of the financial market, and optimally within France as well. So this is just as a skill, but in general, as Gerhard already mentioned before, it would be someone that actually drives the market and takes over responsibility, really is entrepreneurial in his working style, finds opportunities for growth and takes them, and obviously this also involves some kind of network in the local market. So not only the financial knowledge, but also some kind of network, where to go to, who to ask, and so on.
Yeah, I understand. And when you think about same position, this person starts, the first year has passed. At the end of the first year, how would you know that this person was successful? What would be the most important criteria?
So I think internally it would be that the person, or that everyone would know that the person is responsible for this specific market. So let's say we have person X, and they know, or everyone knows that person X is French activities. And then externally, I mean, factors such as having acquired new banking partners are obviously factors. Having expanded the network would also be relevant. I mean, after 1 year, it's pretty hard to tell, but these would definitely be factors to say that someone has been good in the job.
Yeah. If I would put a gun to your head and would pressure you to make a choice, would you say the new banking partners are more important, or the network is more important?
So the gun is at my head.
It's a very violent show, yeah.
I'd actually choose the sales ability, so sales personality, I'd say, because this actually includes more. So having the network, being able to pitch our idea, this is even more important than having the financial background, because this is something you can actually learn.
Yeah, so basically someone who really gets results in the end. Are you still there?
Yes, sorry, I said yes, maybe I said it in the wrong direction, but yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, then we would like to open up the floor to your questions, dear listeners. I see there's a good number of people in the call. You can send us your questions in the chat function of YouTube Live, which I will access right now, so that I can read your questions and give them to Lea and to Gerhard. 1 second. So, let's see. Feel free to send your questions right now. Turns out, okay, yeah. Tang wrote, Tang Nguyen, hello. How long does it usually take a German corporation to recruit an open position? I have a couple of interviews so far, and 4 weeks after I sent my CV, I didn't hear anything back from them. Is 2 or 3 months period a norm for recruiting? I think would be interesting to hear how this is at Raisin GmbH. How long does it usually take before you get back to a candidate?
Quite a good question, actually, and this actually goes back to what Gerhard said earlier. So we always try to be as quick as possible. So we normally answer back to a candidate within 1 or 1.5 weeks with some first feedback, I think 3 to 4 months is actually more the corporate style. So for us, it wouldn't work that way. We answer back, and then what can sometimes take a bit is if people that are involved in the recruiting process are, let's say, on vacation or are sick, because actually take the time and want the candidate to meet as many people from the team as possible, and the other way around, so that both sides can actually get a good impression of what working like what working together would be like, and this is the only part that can sometimes prolong the process, but not hearing back from a company after an application after 4 weeks is, in my opinion, does not speak for the company that one has applied with, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Then at some stage we try at least to meet people in person, inviting them to our Berlin office to do in the end a check on does the chemistry match, and how do we work together on site ideally.
Mm-hmm. And another question comes here from Singh. Soy asked me, he's very straightforward. He asked, do you have use for a network architect with experience from IBM, and how could this person contribute the best to Raisins GmbH?
So we're looking for people in our IT ops team. I would not say with a strong focus on network architecture in the moment, because we outsourced this to another company. But in principle, strong background in system administration and or DevOps would be something we are definitely interested.
Okay. Thank you very much. This was our Expat Career Podcast with Raisins GmbH. I thank very much my two guests, Lea Dirkwinkel, Head of HR at Raisins, and Gerhard Koestler, CTO at Raisins GmbH. And I hope that you found some useful information in this podcast and reach out to Raisins GmbH. Thank you very much, Lea and Gerhard.
It was our pleasure.
Thank you.
So, bye-bye.